Guys, we have 2 guests today, and one of them is Gabe Saporta. He is the founder of Brotege, the leading loge company in the game for the bros, not the pros. Guys, Brotege is giving away an almost all expenses paid trip to Warped Tour in Orlando. To enter, give Brotege a follow at xBrotegeX on Instagram and DM deep to enter. Guys, we are brought to you by the legends at Home Chef. Home Chef is the best meal kit biz in the game, guys. If you want to, get your meals planned out with healthy options, good ingredients, guys, hop on the Home Chef train because they've got good quality and they make it fast, simple, and easy. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/godeep. That's homechef.com/godeep for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/godeep. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Guys, we are on tour, the How to Be Stoked tour. This is not your normal stand-up show, okay, guys? It's a multimedia presentation on how to get stoked. This will change your life, okay? September 23rd, Tampa. September 24th, Orlando. September 25th, Fort Lauderdale. Then we got Sacramento. Then we got my one-man show back in LA on October 4th. Then we got Austin, Texas, Plano, Nashville, Columbus, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Pottstown, Philadelphia, Santa Cruz, Dallas, Fort Worth, Albuquerque. Get your tickets at chadandjt.com. Don't miss it. All right, let's flip it up and rub it down, Stokers.
Yeah, grip and rip it.
Yeah, dude. Welcome to the Going Deep with JT podcast. I'm here with my compadre, John Thomas. What up?
Boom, clap, Stokers.
And we're here with, we got 2 guests today, 2 legends in the house. We got Gabe Saporta.
Yes, thank you. We got one legend really here.
No,
dude.
but
you're the legend.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
We got Sean Barrett.
Hi.
His last name Barrett, right?
Last name Barrett.
Sean
First
Barrett.
name Stoke.
Gabe, not only are you the founder of Brotege, our sponsor, but you're also the lead singer of Cobra Starship.
I am, yeah.
And Midtown, which I was listening to on the way here. Dude, that music fucking rips, dude.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I've always been a Midtown guy.
It's so good.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah. People are like, hey, are you going to put out new music? I'm like, dude, I've put out 7 albums, like put out between my 2 bands. Like imagine the songs that did not come out. I'm like so done writing music. I don't think I can write anything else.
Can we track a quick journey through both?
Oh, a quick journey. Okay. So I was 13 years old, got a bass for my bar mitzvah. That's how it all begins. My friends were all starting a band. They're like, we need a bass player. I'm like, oh, I'll play bass. I had no musical ability. I didn't realize that I have a problem with my hand. Like my pinky's really short. It's like much shorter than the other fingers.
Whoa,
yeah,
cool.
So it's like, my dexterity is really bad. So only these 3 fingers really work.
Is that hereditary? Do either of your folks have that?
I don't know. I think it means that you're really smart, actually.
I was going to say, is there any kind of that thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just started playing. I started playing music really young. I went on my first tour like summer of my sophomore year or junior year of high school.
And you were from New Jersey, which has a pretty robust punk scene.
Well, yeah, I think our we helped create that, like us and all the bands who were around. The thing about New Jersey is that it's like this big suburb between the 2 major cities of Philly and New York, right? So when you're a kid, you want to go see shows. I remember like taking like the bus to Manhattan all the time to see shows, but like there wasn't a lot of stuff locally. There was like this kind of hangover of like the 80s hair metal, Bruce Springsteen days. So there were like a lot of old rockers that were in Jersey, and they had like these old bars, but they were all like 21 and up. They might do a show that's all ages, but they'd expect you to sell tickets. It was like the worst of the worst. So what me and my friends started doing is we just started renting out these like VFW halls, because there's a ton of them in Jersey. VFW halls, Rotary clubs, all these like kind of like places that like old people just had.
And what were these other bands that you were doing it with?
Oh man. So like it's funny. Like, so Saves the Day comes from that same world. My Chem comes from that same world. I think the dude from My Chem was in a band called Pensy Prep. I think that there was a lot of like good local bands. There's a band called Catch 22, which were like a big ska band that signed to Victory. There's a band called Bigwig that was like a Fat Wreck band. So like this is like,
Was Brand New in that scene too?
Brand New were in like a sister scene. So the same thing was happening in Long Island that was happening in Jersey. So Long Island and Jersey were kind of coming up at the same time. Same philosophy. These young kids that, you know, listen to music. We're finding out about it. It's like early days of internet. And like at the beginning of the internet, it was all kind of just like music heads, because if you are a kid in your little town and you're the only one, you know, that likes this music, you're not going to find anyone in your town that's listening to that music. But you go on the internet, all of a sudden there's like 1,000 kids there. Mm-hmm. So like they would all like get to know each other. It's like, oh, I live like 4 towns away, I live here, I live there. And we'd meet up in the city for shows, and then we just started doing our own shows. And then that kind of like
were there mosh pits? What was the energy of the crowd?
Full on mosh pits, dude. My first show that I went to, my first like local show, like flyer $5 VFW show, was like a hardcore show. And my dad,
that kind of singing.
Yeah, it was more like youth crew hardcore. So
there's so many delineations between the different like subgenres.
There's a lot of subgenres. Yeah,
I wanted to ask you about that. We can do that later. But continue.
Yeah. I mean, man. So like, you know, but I think the cool thing about Jersey is that it was kind of like a melting pot, and a lot of different genres all kind of fucked with each other. So like Thursday, for example, like Thursday, that's by the time I got to college, we rented a house on Hamilton Street. We all went to Rutgers, and we did shows in the basement of the house. Like the house we got just had this big basement that was full of just like garbage. We spent a week clearing it out, and we did shows. And Thursday was like one of the bands that played our basement. And then there was like bigger shows at VFWs. And I think their first like big show, they borrowed our equipment and just came on stage and did like a few songs. Yeah. So it was cool. A lot of different styles of music. A lot of bands played with each other and fucked with each other. And it kind of all just grew from there. Jersey had a very, very fertile scene.
What's that like when you at your first show and you first see the mosh pit? What do you do?
Well, I was scared, to be honest. So like, I was like maybe 14. My dad like dropped me off at a VFW show. It was a hardcore show, and it was like a lot of kids just like, you know, practicing all of their moves, you know, like hardcore had like some like
the spin kicks and
the spin kicks, you know, the pizza toss. There was, I think there was like a sick of it all.
What's a pizza toss?
It was like you like do this while you're moving your legs. There's like a great old, I think it's a sick of it all video or something that shows like all the moves.
I've
like
seen that.
Yeah, you've seen that. Picking up
pennies.
The wall
starting the lawnmower.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of that. So hardcore was really big at that time too. There was because Gorilla Biscuits had kind of just broken up, and after breaking up, they became bigger than ever. And that was like the New York hardcore youth crew kind of thing that was happening. That was like right before my time. That was like the early 90s.
And was that still like CBGBs and those kind of venues?
They were doing like the Sunday matinees at CBGBs. Those had stopped by the time I was going to shows. I remember once when I was a kid. So like the thing that was really big when I was a kid was like Rancid was like huge, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so like there's a lot of like these like summer squatters, to call them, like kids that would come from like Connecticut or whatever and just like hang in the city and pretend to be broke, but they were like really these trust fund kids.
Yeah, they were like they'd buy like 3 Criterion DVDs.
Yeah. Well, no DVDs yet then, bro. I'm ancient.
Laserdisc, dude. Laserdisc.
The sound was
VHS, bro. VHS. So and these kids like would spend a lot of time just like doing their hair. I remember there was a moment where I had Liberty spikes, and it's crazy, you know. And so you're kind of just like figuring it all out as a kid. And then what's cool about Jersey was it just felt less pretentious than the scene in the city. And Gorilla Biscuits had broken up, but Civ, which was a singer of Gorilla Biscuits, was like the continuation of that. Like Walter from Gorilla Biscuits was in Quicksand, wrote all the records for the first Civ record, and that was like, it had a moment on MTV, so that was like big on the radio. They had a couple hits, and it was a cool hardcore record. So that was like a lot of influence, I think, for the bands in the tri-state area were influenced by that.
That's awesome.
So hardcore was like getting big at the time.
And then, so you tour with Midtown. And
wow,
then
those are your notes?
Yeah, I took a lot of notes, actually.
I love
and
that.
I listened to you on a couple
prepared.
pods,
I'm not prepared at all.
He's a master interviewer.
I just showed up.
He's like Charlie Rose without the controversy.
Yeah, I don't do Zooms with my pants off. Well, I do, but I don't show it to someone. All right, so your closest buddies were a Newfound Glory?
Yeah, they were some of our close friends, exactly. So, okay, so what happened was basically, so New York, you have like this hardcore thing going on, right? Hardcore is really big. On the West Coast is really where Rancid comes from, and like Green Day, and then you have Fat Records popping up. No Effects is getting huge, so that's kind of like infiltrating a little bit to the East Coast. But there wasn't like the vibes were like a little different. Like the West Coast thing was more like skate punk, just kind of like really just more nihilistic, more like haha, fuck you, mom, you know, like fucking around and just like breaking shit. And on the East Coast is very much like it was almost like it's like I think it was like PMA, if you ever heard that expression, positive mental attitude, is very like straight edge was big. There's a lot of ideology, a lot of idealism out of the stuff on the East Coast. So it felt more serious.
That? Was that like Minor Threat? Is that where that kind of derivative
from?
from?
Straight edge came from Minor Threat. They started that. So that was DC in the early 80s. And they came about, I mean, wow, we're doing a whole music history thing. So basically the New York punk scene kind of started with Bad Brains, like in the late 70s, early 80s. And then it kind of died. And then DC popped up in like 82, 83, 84, and that became really big. And then Henry Rollins was in a DC band called SOA, I think, State of Alert, and then he got picked up to be the singer of Black Flag. So he moved to California. So the whole DC thing was getting really big in the early 80s, but straight edge came from that. But by the time I was playing music, that was kind of over, and Fugazi was really big. Fugazi is Ian MacKay's other band, which was like a post-hardcore band. So post-hardcore was really big. Post-hardcore was like getting mainstream. Like there's bands like Helmet, like I said, Civ, Orange 9mm. A lot of like these bands were getting signed and going on the radio, and they were older. These guys were like, you know, 26, 27, maybe in the early 30s. You know, we were like 14, 15. So we're the generation prior to that.
That was what's cool about straight edge guys, though, is you'd have 30-year-olds hanging out with 14-year-olds because they shared a similar lifestyle. Oh, man. That's true, though, right? I don't mean in any kind of salacious way. It's just something I noticed, like, just in those pockets of culture.
I don't know, Sean, do you know a lot of 30-year-old straight edge guys?
I did.
Yeah. Now they're not really allowed out.
Didn't you do a thing on the internet? You did a bit about being straight edge?
Yeah.
Tell us about that bit.
I mean, when you explain a bit, it's never quite the same. But it's just like a satire thing, sitting with this guy talking about straight edge and how people usually make that decision before their like frontal lobe is fully formed.
Sure.
And then I'm with my buddy, and I didn't even realize when we filmed it, he has 2 X's on his hand because he used to be straight edge. But yeah, then there's a video as well that explains it better.
You did the video and you made fun of it, and then like the comments where people were just like, oh, I've been straight edge my whole life.
Yes.
The comments were gold.
Self-validate all you want.
I used to do kettlebell workouts with a guy who was straight edge.
Oh yeah, he was probably intense.
He was intense, but he was very gentle.
Yeah,
too.
no, straight edge. It's great. Like, there's no problem with it. It's great.
And
you can also just be like, I don't drink, and you could just say that.
Right. Yeah, why do you have to be part of like a club?
Yeah, that's the part I don't get is the...
And they would get mad at other people. Like,
Yes.
I remember this guy, Conley, was straight edge, and he'd like beat you up if you were drinking. It's like, isn't it enough just
There's
for you
straight
to have
edge
your own?
gangs.
Right. CMS, like, so that started
Yeah.
happening a little later, you know, then Earth Crisis came out, and that was like...
It's like our version of like an
gang.
Islamic fundamentalist.
Yeah,
Straight
for
edge
sure.
gangs in Orange
It just
County.
goes to show you anything that's done to an extreme is always going to go bad, you know?
Yes.
So I think I like the ideology. I mean, I was straight edge for my whole like punk career, quote unquote, like as a kid until I was 19.
Sex wise too? Or because I know some people delineated between promiscuous sex and then just having hedonistic sex.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I was always like a girlfriend kind of guy, you know? So
That
I
fits
guess
within the
that's-
ideology.
Yeah. So if it fits in the ideology.
As I remember it from my time.
Straight edge almost sounds more hardcore than partying, because you were talking about straight edge. I was like, wait, is this a different thing than just not drinking?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
like,
why it's so confusing.
Yeah.
That's like that's what I'm saying. The East Coast, that's a very East Coast thing. That really was not happening on the West Coast until maybe a little later.
And then you got signed by Fueled by Ramen, and that's like the biggest.
That's way
label.
later. Yeah, that was Cobra's. So
okay.
Midtown was signed by a West Coast like punk label called Drive Thru Records.
Oh, I know them. They're huge. Like they would put out compilation albums that had all the best bands. On.
Right, exactly. So that was like the early days.
Is that the drive-in on that?
No, at the drive-in was on Fearless.
And is that how you got on those like Punk Goes records?
Yeah, those compilations were really big at the time because
Huge. I used to listen like nonstop.
Because they would give them away for free. Like that's how I learned about a lot of bands. Because like you'd go to a record store and it was like maybe like $4 or like whatever. Like so, record stores were like a big thing back then. I used to love going to record stores and you just would hang out, learn about new music, learn about new bands, like read zines at record stores. Like this was like before the internet or like early days of the internet.
And zines were like kind of culturally specific magazines that just had like artists contributing to them.
They were like you printed them yourselves. Like I had a zine when I was a kid. I just would go to Kinko's and just like make copies and then just like give it out. You know?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you just write it up. You kind of lay it out. It's like hodgepodge. You like cut up the pieces and you make your master and then just like photocopy it. Yeah.
I loved your version of Your Love on the.
Oh yeah, that was
Punkos
sick.
80s
Yeah,
album.
that was
great.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow,
you went deep.
That's the podcast. Going deep, baby.
Wow, you're playing the drive-through. This is great. You're doing research at the same time. Who's doing that?
And then, so did you like just being a little?
These are all the comments.
Yeah.
This is great.
So very straightforward. So then, did you just kind of see a limit to that scene, and then you were like, I want to break into a broader, like kind of musical audience?
That happened between Midtown and Cobra Starship. Like when I got into music, I didn't know there's a thing called the music business. I just loved playing music and I was having a great time. And I just wanted to tour and, go on adventures. I remember the first tour I did, I basically booked it by opening the phone book and like calling record stores in different cities and just being like, who are the cool local bands that sound like this, and we just found other bands and we trade shows with them, and that's how we just booked the tours. Very, very DIY. And then like slowly our little DIY scene got really big, and like bookie agents used to call us when they needed a show for a band that was playing Philly and New York. They had an off day like on a Thursday or something, and they would call us and we'd book the shows. And those shows ended up being as big or if not bigger than their New York shows. So that's when it kind of started going crazy and started getting a little bigger. My brother had a collective called the Bomb Shelter Collective, and they put on like huge shows. They did the Get Up Kids, they did Jimmy World, like big. And it started becoming a big thing. They would bring in a stage into like a fireman's hall and,
wow.
like speakers and the whole thing. And all
That's
of a sudden
cool.
it became a much bigger thing, yeah.
And then, so how did Cobra Starship start?
So basically, Cobra Starship started. So we signed a deal with Drive-Thru. Drive-Thru ended up getting bought by a major. That major went and hit that, bro. That major got got merged. So this is the beginning of MP3s. So the whole business started taking a nosedive. So people were getting fired left and right. That major label was MCA. It got kind of disappeared and absolved into Interscope. So all of a sudden we didn't have a label, and it was just confusing. And I just didn't like being on a major and having no control.
Were you guys pissed at Napster too?
I
think
as a young band, because he's like the establishment, bro. Like when you're a young band, what you care about is people hearing your music. You're not really making money anyway. You just want people to hear your stuff.
Right. So you were in the right age bracket where you're like, this is good. It's a democratization of music. Everyone can get it now.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that like my first meeting at like the big major label when, we come from Drive-Thru. They like ran their business out of their house. They're like friends, like doing stuff. It felt very like small, organic. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're partnered with MCA. So you walk in and you're just like, wow, this is like a huge business, So you walk into this office, and I remember the head A&R guy played a record. He's like, let me play you something. I'm like, okay. You hear that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how's it sound? I'm like, sounds good. He's like, that's not a CD. I'm like, what is it? He's like, it's an MP3. I'm like, yeah, I know MP3. He's like, but look how clear it sounds. You can't tell the difference. I'm like, yeah. He's like, we're done for.
Do you see him have his existential dark night of the soul?
Do you see a lot of parallels from today with AI coming in and the kind of MP3 boom in music?
Yeah, bro. AI. I think in music, it's a scary time for music right now. Very scary time.
Have you seen it help artists? Like, has it augmented the process at all? Where like if they're like missing just like a certain instrument, or if they just need to add a note, they can just do that easier and cheaper? Or do you worry it's just gonna be a wholesale replacement of artistry?
There's always this interesting thing about like, does the art affect the medium or does the medium affect the art? And like you see it throughout history when like we went from like 45s that were singles, and it was like a singles led music business. It was just about like having a hit song, having a single, to all of a sudden you get this long player, the 33, and all of a sudden artists are making albums, which are experiences that people listen to for an hour, and then the artist is back in the driver's seat, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that we're going through that shift right now. I don't know what it's going to look like, but clearly, AI is a tool, right? So there are going to be people who approach that tool with an artistic perspective that we can't think of. But what is an artist? An artist is someone who thinks outside the box about something and does something different, than uses something not the way it's supposed to be used, right? So they will probably figure out something cool to do with AI that we can't even imagine. And maybe that'll be the new art. Like, I'll give you another perfect example. Like, here's a great analogy. Like, when I started making records, I'm so old that my first record was made on a reel-to-reel, on tape, right? There was no computers. Like, you really just recorded stuff on the tape. That was my first experience in the studio. And as I was, my career was growing, Pro Tools and all this stuff and auto-tune and editing all started coming into the picture. And at the beginning, when these things came out, people were very against it. They're like, fuck that, that's not real music, that's not live, you're editing, you're not getting the take live, you're not really doing it. Like, it was all just felt like a big push against that. And then with autotune, people are like, oh, fuck you, use autotune on a record. Now people use autotune live. Like, everybody uses autotune live. And this is something I just discovered because I just played my first show in 10 years, last year. And now everyone's using autotune live. I didn't know that, So it's
and if you're young and you grow up with it, you're not going to think it's bad. It's just going to be the norm.
It's like AI.
That's what I'm saying. So all of these tools of editing and, like, the technology you have in the box to like fix stuff to make it sound better, then all of a sudden those tools, by like someone like Skrillex, for example, he took that stuff and made it an art form, and all of a sudden was using sounds you've never heard that aren't possible to make on regular instruments, right? And that became its own genre of music, right? So I think a similar thing will happen with AI. But right now, I think we're going to go through a lull before it comes back.
And so when you switched to Cobra Starship, you went from like pop punk to like kind of dance music, would you say? Is that the right categorization?
I think our hits were like more in the dance stuff, but I think we had elements of both. Like, I think for me, it's hard because I was in it, so I see it as a natural progression. So on the last Midtown record, for example, I was using this program called Reason, which is like you get to program beats and make cool sounds, and like there's a lot of like interludes on that record that were made with that. Jimmy Eat World was at that time, they're like a real emo band, but again, using weird sounds, programming things, making things sound cool that are not like necessarily things you do live, but just like, again, using the tools to make interesting records. So I was already doing that stuff, so I just wanted to incorporate that into the music I was making. And one of the things is like, when you are always writing a song on guitar, you're kind of limited to what kind of songs you're going to make.
I guess I asked more like, did you have like, was there any kind of backlash from your audience at all?
Of course. I've had backlash at every juncture. I am the king of backlash. Brotege, I get so much backlash on Brotege. Like, people love to
punk fans are tough. Like they have a very like when you talk about like Ian MacKaye,
I don't know how
stuff,
tough they are. Like, they're good behind a keyboard,
I mean, like Ian MacKaye, right? Like, people look up to him so much because he seems to have like these like unbending rules for his life, which feel like impossible to live by.
Bro, people come after Ian MacKaye all day, bro. And
really?
Yeah, they're like, he's like, his like main thing is like, I didn't leave hardcore left me, And, people accuse him of turning his back on hardcore. People accuse him of being racist. Like, he's got a lot of shit, Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has a song called Guilty of Being White,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Early Minor
Should have put that out today, It would have been... Probably would have done
he's
better.
He's doing a re-release. Yeah, sure.
So, I don't know. It's tricky. You're always going to get shit. It just, for me, it's hard for me because I'm a Cancer moon, so I'm very sensitive on the inside, even though I'm a Sag rising, so I'm, very aggressive on the outside.
Both, are you into this? Are you a horoscope guy?
No, I don't know anything about it, but when I hear something, I'm like, oh yeah, sounds like me.
Sounds right.
It does take the edge off, especially when bad things are happening in the world. You're like, you know what? I'm just a pebble in the river, and I'm just floating, baby. I need to stop thinking it's my fault.
My fiance was stressed this weekend. I'm like, look, babe, I'm a Leo rising. Like, how can I serve you? And just me saying that, that's all she needed.
It took the edge off.
Yeah. I was like, let me give you some warmth right now.
Did you learn about astrology through your girl?
I've learned a little bit, but we had an astrologist on our podcast like 4 years ago.
Nice guy.
Mm-hmm. He told me, he's like, I knew I was a Scorpio, but he's like, you are a Leo rising and a Cancer. I think I'm a Cancer moon.
You're Cancer moon. Wow, yeah. That's actually very similar because Leo is also fire, so we're both fire. Like, people see us as like fire signs, but really we're just very tender on the inside.
Dude, it's so tender.
Nice, dude.
So it's actually really bad to be in a position of celebrity when you're a fire rising in a water.
Oh, really?
Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, because you just... Yeah.
Because you can dish it, but you can't take it.
Well, right. So how did that feel when Good Girls Go Bad, one of the greatest songs of all time? I mean,
thank you so much.
Like, I've probably in my top 10 most listened to. So I can remember me just blasting that for like a year straight. How did life feel after that went kind of, nuclear and it was everywhere?
It was crazy. I mean, like, you also have to remember that the way Cobra Starship got big is the first song we put out was Snakes on a Plane.
For the movie, right?
Yeah, which was like literally played in the credits of the movie. We did all these Hollywood premieres. So I go from like being unknown, Midtown put out 3 records. We had a shot. It like didn't work. It was like, I was like a dead artist at 22. It's like, go back to school or, try to go for it. And I had a friend who really encouraged me. She's like, just fucking go for it. Get out of your own way. Stop being precious about shit and just fucking go for it. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to get out of my own way. So that was like my thing. And you'll see a lot of the Cobra lyrics are about me not giving a shit about what people say. Which is really just like, I'm trying to inspire myself to be that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the point. It's like, I'm just going to fucking go for it. I don't really give a fuck what anyone says.
Yeah. You like allowed yourself to be broad.
Yeah, to be broad and just like, it's like by that time I had been making music for 10 years. I think I put out my first like 7-inch when I was 15 years old, So I was like, I've done this for a long time. I've learned some skills to this. Am I just going to like throw it away and go back to school? Or am I going to really give it a shot? So I knew that I gave it a shot and tried my best.
What was your most surreal experience after the success of this song?
I think the surreal stuff was the Snakes on a Plane stuff, because that was also like, the music business is like cool, whatever, but the movie business is a whole different ballgame. It's just like much, much bigger, So when all of a sudden, I go from like, I think that, with Midtown, we were on the Spider-Man soundtrack, and like some people heard us from that.
That was a great soundtrack. That was the Dashboard one?
Yeah.
That whole soundtrack rips.
Yeah, even to this day, I think the most played song is from that soundtrack. So like to go from there.
What is it? What's the name of that song?
Give It Up. I think Give It Up is on the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. I could be wrong. Someone's got a, can
you're not on the Spider-Man soundtrack at all.
I think I am. I don't know. But again, it's far removed. Like you hear it on a soundtrack, but then all of a sudden we're like, doing the movie premiere for Snakes on a Plane, walking the carpet. We're in the movie. Like it was crazy. That was definitely like the biggest thing that felt like, wow, out of nowhere. Because everything else kind of felt gradual, but that was really out of nowhere. And that really posed its own set of challenges too, because it felt like, haha, you're doing this funny thing for this funny movie that's supposed to be a joke.
It was like a novelty song, kind of.
It was kind of. I mean, the song wasn't a novelty. So what happened is after Midtown, I started writing all these songs. I had all these records. And I had no band, I had no platform. I'm like, these records are great, I want to put them out. And my manager was like, you can't put them out right now. There's nothing, you have nothing going on. I'm like, I just want to get them out, which is like, it's so funny because that's like the challenge that I have now with young artists. They're all like, I want to put out a record. I just recorded this record yesterday, let's put it out. I'm like, yeah, you can do that, but don't you want like a strategy to put it out to get it heard? So like, it just goes to show you like the marketing component is very important. And marketing itself is like, it's very creative. So I think with Cobras, I learned to see the marketing component as an extension of the art itself. Like also
and it worked.
Art. It worked. Yeah, it worked. Thank God.
When you were like dreaming up all of that, did you ever think those songs would become as big as they did?
I felt like by the time, so Good Girls was on my 3rd Cobra record. So what happened with Cobras is we had that Snakes on a Plane song. I didn't think they were going to be big. I thought I was doing something cool. Like I loved, like, this was like at the time, like LCD Sound System was coming out. Like I remember I bought the Phoenix record when I was in tour in Europe, the first album. I was just like getting into like, and I was going out. I wasn't like a 15-year-old kid living at home with my parents. I was like, 21, living in Manhattan, going to parties, like, different, going to bars, like drinking, like going out, like trying to hit on girls, and they're like, want to dance. I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to dance, So it's like, that really is the beginning of Cobras, right? Like, like mixing that in. And what happened was too, there was like a party in New York at the time called Misshapes, which is like, now it's like a historic party, like Madonna DJ there at some point. But that party was started by all these ex-punk kids who like at the beginning, they were like just playing like new wave records. So they would play like New Order, and like
that Manchester music scene kind
exactly
of stuff.
The Manchester stuff. So that was kind of having a revival like in the early 2000s.
It's great music.
It was really fun. And then all of a sudden you had artists coming out like making music like that. Then the Killers came out and all this stuff, and that got really big. That whole world got big. So Cobras was kind of like the bridge of that. Is like we're punk kids and we like this music too. How are we going to marry them, the both of them together? There was like a dance rock thing going on. The Rapture was happening, like all that stuff. Yeah.
All right. Before we move into the Brotege and to Sean, I need your guys' help. So can you tell me what is the difference between pop punk and punk?
One is much cooler. I wouldn't even know how to. Gabe is definitely the one who can explain that better than me.
But there's a lot of stuff you do too, right?
Yeah, but I'm not a musician. I mean, pop punk is way like, easier to listen to. Like, I think it's a little bit more accessible, whereas punk, I feel like, is a little bit more aggressive and
it's alienating on purpose.
Yeah, maybe not on purpose, but I think it's got a little bit more I don't give a fuck.
It's not like a cohesive radio song.
No, yeah, I think that's kind of the difference. Like pop punk is way more just easy to digest.
And then
I'll give you just historically too. Like punk rock historically, like the core, there was like almost no melody in the choruses. Maybe a shouting chorus, you know, like whatever. The Ramones are kind of looked at as like the first pop punk band, right? So they love the Beach Boys, so they would actually put like sing along choruses. But the music was punk. It was fast. It was dirty. It was kind of shitty. They sang shitty, but you could actually remember it and sing. You know?
Yeah, they had the rough edges of punk, but it was a little more like digestible for a normal person. So that's
the beginning of like pop punk was the Ramones, like versus like an Iggy Pop that was like punk rock. And then like I think in the 90s pop punk had a huge resurgence. Obviously Green Day is like the zenith of that, but before Green Day there was like a lot of bands that were doing that, like Screeching Weasels, a band from Chicago that was like very pop punk, loved the Ramones, like had really catchy choruses. So you started getting like these like punk rock bands, and they had the punk ethos. They would make their own records, they would tour in a van, they would like, you know, crash people's houses, whatever, like, but they were doing these sing-along songs. And then from there it evolved as the medium changed and records started sounding. At the beginning, when you were like from a punk band and your record was sounding too good, they would call it slick. Like they would call it like, your record's too slick. It was it was derogatory. Your
it used to be a little
slick.
crunchier, a little like...
Yeah, it doesn't sound punk rock anymore. It sounds slick, right?
Yeah.
So then that was like the beginning of like, I think what you're talking about pop punk is like Good Charlotte, for example.
Sure.
Exactly, which is like, you know, that is when really pop punk broke, you know, to the mainstream a second time after Green Day.
And why do you think it's so natural for these bands to start off like I like the Replacements, and then as Paul Westerberg got older, he went to like slower, more melodic stuff. Good Charlotte had a similar trajectory. It seems like you had your own kind of version of that. What is it in like just the human evolution that gets us to start off all like raw and yelly, and then as
hormones, bro? Your fucking heart rate literally slows down. When you're a kid, your heart rate is like twice as fast.
F1
you just fucking want to
driver.
jump, dude. I have kids. My kids just will not stop, bro. Like you just have like this unending energy. You have the gift of youth. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then what's the difference between hardcore and easy core?
I don't know what easy core is.
I don't know what easy
never
core
heard of
is.
it.
That seems like more y'all's thing.
What about?
Yeah,
do you guys know what dude core is?
Dude core? No.
Yeah.
Is that like
okay.
Five Finger
Those
Death
aren't-
Punch or something?
You know, I was on Wikipedia looking at different bands, and they all had these different like subgenres attached to them. And I was like,
Dude
maybe
core.
you guys could help me with
I don't
like
know. Is
the.
that like Ignite? Is that dude core? Is that like bro core? I don't know.
And then, but then you know emo.
Emo, yeah.
And then so what?
I love emo.
What is emo?
And was emo born out of pop punk?
No, emo is a precursor to pop punk. So emo comes from hardcore. So basically, emo. It's funny how many like different scenes Ian MacKaye created. So he created like straight edge hardcore, you know, which was really post punk rock. It was like play punk rock as fast as you can, and that became hardcore. It was like hardcore. They call that hardcore punk, right? And it didn't have breakdowns yet. Like, so I think like a signature of like what we know as hardcore today is like the breakdowns, the mosh parts. There weren't really breakdowns in early hardcore punk, right? But it was just faster, aggressive, and that was like hardcore punk. And then from there, then they slowed down. So I think what people regard as the first emo band was a band called Embrace that I think Ian MacKaye was in Embrace, if I'm not mistaken. Can you fact check me on that? And they were from DC, and they made like, I think the first, or maybe it was Rites of Spring. But again, all from that DC scene. And the point of emo, they called it was emotional hardcore. It was basically hardcore as opposed to talking about, singing about, you know, like a lot of themes that were big in hardcore. Was Ian MacKaye? Yeah, he was in it. Okay, he was in it. Great. Okay, I'm not wrong.
You nailed it.
Nailed it. They were just talking about personal things, emotional things, you know, and that's where the term came from. And for a while, emo was very. It came from the hardcore scene. So like I was talking
kind
about,
of to me, an antecedent of like. It was, you know how like everyone's like, oh, a lot of kids like identify as like non-binary now and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I think that there's always been a version of that existed in society. And when I was growing up, the big thing was metrosexual and emo. You know,
metrosexual.
So we had like football and basketball players straightening their hair and wearing eyeliner and doing things that were ostensibly more feminine and that were kind of thwarting traditional masculinity. But we just had a different kind of you know, way that we packaged it. And emo was extremely useful for us because I think we all felt kind of buried under like having to be tough. And then emo came out and it was like all my dude friends who like could bench like 2 plates were writing in their bios like, I just want to be sad and I miss her so much. And I was like, it was kind of nice.
Yeah, so that was like I guess there's a great historian on emo. What's his name? oh my God, washed up emo is the account. And he really documents like, he's like one of the guys who's like, that's not fucking emo, that's just pop punk. But he there's like a great article that comes out that shows like the difference in the dress between like early emo and later emo. Yeah, that's the dude, Tom. He's the best. Washed up emo. So he really documents this stuff really well. So like early emo, kids were wearing like sweater vests and, you know, like
I was like a little more
up.
like posh, a little more like East Coast,
you
like
look, you look
boarding
like
school kind of look.
Not boarding school, but like you went
Preppy.
to college. It was like
Vampire Weekend.
alternative. Exactly. It looked like that, you know. But that was before Vampire Weekend existed. So like, you know, I think a great band is like Texas is the Reason. Is like that's what like early emo looked like. A lot of turtlenecks. That kind of look. So
I'm learning it.
So we got you see. So that's what early emo looked like. And today
you can see it a little bit.
Today you would call that like indie, but I think back then that dress was like that. But you see, like, okay, so that's Norman. He was like an ex-hardcore dude, so he's like dressed a little nice, but he's still got like the choker hardcore necklace, you know. So it was.
Yeah, it's
very
like,
interesting.
are we going Dashboard or are we going Wilco? They're kind of in between those two.
Yeah,
they're at a crossroads.
Did they? Then their lyrics and it was still that kind of emo.
Yeah, and I saw them the first time I heard Texas Reason. They were opening for Civ, which was like a hardcore band, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that is the connection. That's like the early emo, and then I think what people know as emo today, it could also just be called pop punk, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think that happens. So like for example, like Midtown, I think we were a part of that, of like, you know, being emo, but also kind of pop punk. It was like a mix of the two. So we were East Coast, so we looked a little emo. So for the first Midtown record, the back of the record, we all wore like turtlenecks and looked nice, and you know, and that was actually for us, that was like counterculture, because everyone at the time was like trying to look as punk rock as possible, and we're like, oh, we're not going to look like that, right?
Yeah.
It's very fascinating.
Do you think
wow, you're going so deep, bro.
Pop punk and emo. I was about to just make a really broad joke. I was going to say, do you think it helped get Obama elected? But
oh, for sure. I guess I don't know. I was there. Where's the back? Get the back. I think the first album is called. Wait, what the fuck is the name of the first album? Save the World, Lose a Girl.
Great name.
When was your first?
Look at the back of the album. You'll see what we look like on the back.
When was your first pair of skinny jeans?
Oh man, around this time. This is when everyone was wearing skinny jeans.
I never abandoned it. I'm sticking with them.
I know. I'm wearing them now. Yeah, I never.
Dude, my first pair changed my life.
Yeah, it's the first time I got called an F slur for sure. Yeah.
Where did you grow up, Sean?
Santa Monica.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, yeah,
whoa.
Yeah, the pants were much smaller back then.
Oh, so you're in the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
And did you grow up like a music head, just always going to shows and stuff?
Yeah, going to shows and whatnot. Yeah. And my generation was maybe a few years after Gabe's. Like in Santa Monica, at least everyone I grew up with was all like, everyone would go see this band Let Live. The singer is Jason from Fever 333 now. Yeah. And like that was, I guess, would they be post-hardcore? Something like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd have to buy like girl jeans because they didn't make skinny jeans.
Yeah.
That's like a thing.
And that's a consistent thing in like rock kind of iconography, right? Like Mick Jagger, androgynous, kind of beautiful to both sides, and then like the hair metal guys also kind of wearing makeup. There just seems to be a
yeah, I guess so. I mean, like all that like 70s glam stuff, that was like not on my radar at all. I don't know anything about that. Like that's also like, I wasn't born in America, so this is what I call
You're from Uruguay,
yeah,
right?
This is what I call my immigrant holes. I don't really know about culture in America before 1980.
And what is Uruguay just pinned right there between Argentina and Brazil?
Yeah, bro, it's like a little wedge of a country. I think they set it up so they would get the Spaniards and the Portuguese to stop killing each other. It's just a little.
They need a little like separator.
It's like a little DMZ over there. Yeah, there it is.
And you came here. How old were you?
I was 4. So Uruguay had a military dictatorship at the time. My parents had friends just disappearing, so they're like, we're getting out of here.
Not cool.
Not cool, yeah. And it's cool now. Uruguay's a great country now. It's sick.
Do you speak Spanish?
I speak perfect Spanish, yeah.
Really?
I think we talked about this, yeah.
And your dad's a doctor, right?
My dad is a doctor.
You share that with the Krogs, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my dad's a doctor, but he had to go to medical school all over again in America. So we we lived here. We were here for like 3 years without any papers. And he was just like getting by how he could, and it's like a catch-22. He couldn't enroll in school because he didn't have papers. You can't get papers because you can't be in school. So he actually found a little sneak. I think to immigrate you have to have you are gay. That was the best Simpsons. If you can find that Simpsons, that was like the biggest Uruguay shout out ever. Homer Simpson once got a globe. There it goes. Can we watch it live? And that's not going to go in it's so good. Look at this country. It's the best.
You got to put on the headphones.
Oh, I got to put on the headphones.
It's such a funny shit.
Are you seeing this?
No.
The show?
No. Oh, The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Dude, have you heard of this shit, dude? They got a bunch of
That's funny,
episodes,
dude. They gotta
bro.
do more.
It's like low key.
gay.
People don't really know about it,
It's goated.
I had a professor in undergrad dissertation on Uruguay. That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. I actually don't know a lot about Uruguay either. Like people are like, "Oh, you're from Uruguay? You love soccer?" I'm like, I don't fuck with sports, bro. I don't know anything about sports. I like music.
yeah, is that like Diego Forlán? He's from there.
There's like a bunch of dudes.
Is Suarez from there?
Yeah, I think
too?
Suarez is from there.
Y'all got good strikers, and you guys won the first 2 World Cups.
But you'd know better than I would, bro. I have no idea.
1950. Tell me if Uruguay won the World Cup in 1950.
There you go. Wow, look at you, dude.
Why do you know
How
that?
do you know that? Oh, your mom, you're into stuff, right? You got the culture.
I don't know how I knew that.
Damn.
Guys, we're brought to you by the legends at Bilt. Guys, by now you probably heard of Bilt. We've talked about Bilt. We love Bilt. Guys, Bilt is where you can earn points on your monthly rent payment. But did you know they make it possible for you to get more outside of your home too? If you're paying rent every month without earning anything in return, let me introduce you to Bilt, the rewards program designed for renters who want to earn something for their largest monthly expense. Guys, by paying rent through Bilt, you can earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But it doesn't stop there. Bilt is about making your entire neighborhood more rewarding. You can dine out at your favorite local restaurants and earn additional points, get VIP treatment at certain fitness studios, and enjoy exclusive experiences just for Bilt members every month. Bilt is turning a monthly expense into an opportunity to earn rewards and discover the best that your neighborhood has to offer. Your rent is finally working for you. Earn points on rent and around your neighborhood wherever you call home by going to joinbilt.com/go deep. That's joinbilt.com/go deep. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you.
And Sean, you do a lot of like stuff online, like you pick on metalheads. Is that kind of the?
I did for a couple months, yeah.
Well, it picks on everyone equally.
Yeah, pretty equal, yeah.
And is it sort of what we were talking about earlier with like just how like certain these like subgenres of music can be about like their lifestyle and like they don't want anyone else, like gatekeeping kind of stuff?
Very much that. And to me, with a lot of the things I do, it's very obviously satire, but then you put it out and it goes beyond the people that follow you, and it's taken so seriously. Like there's one where I do that like I don't mean any of it, I don't care. It was like Metallica sucks for one reason, because of Robert Trujillo, the bass player. I make a joke like the only thing his good fingers are good for is getting fingered or whatever, and like there's always like a tell, but then you go to the bio and it's like Brazil Metallica fans. Like I get messages like, don't fuck with Metallica, bro, I will come get you. Like but I always hit them with like the cheers fucking emoji and the thanks, which just pisses them off more. But yeah, a lot of satire. Like in the metal thing, like I did one where like about being the most metal, and I ended up losing a leg. I lose my leg, and it's so obviously a joke, but then people think it's real. So then I went away from that, and then I did like for a couple of weeks I pretended like I was in spiritual psychosis with the no leg, and people really thought that was real, and it would make me kind of mad that people would like think it was real. So I was like, all right, well, I gotta take it further. So then I went up on YouTube and figured out how to do cold sore makeup. So then I made myself
that was really difficult
the
to
worst
watch.
herpes like ever outbreak.
Yeah.
And then I kept going up until I had to go to the gathering of the Juggalos, and I had to stop. What happens if you search Sean Barrett herpes?
And you went to, did you actually go to the gathering of the Juggalos?
Oh, he hosted.
Oh yeah,
it.
look at that thing. Yeah, I hosted it the last 3 years.
wow.
But I've been 8 or 9 years. Yeah,
What is
check
that?
that out.
That's supposed to be like a pretty fun and positive experience,
Herpes and
right?
vape etiquette. That's unbelievable.
It's insane though.
What are the
herpes and vape culture.
You're friends with
Shaggy?
the guy, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the 3rd year I hosted the gathering of the Juggalos. Shaggy Too Dope, one of the guys from Insane Clown Posse. For people who don't know, the Gathering of the Juggalos is the music festival that Insane Clown Posse puts on every year. A lot of big acts play, like Waka Flocka's this year. It's Suicide Boys have played. Yeah, Waka Flocka is like super down. Like he painted his
hands?
He jugged up his face. He was in the mosh pit.
Oh, what a great guy.
But then I think it was last year Riff Raff came, maybe it was 2 years ago, and he was like I think Violent J said he was like the second guy ever who's come that brought armed security with him because he's really scared because the Juggalos will throw stuff at you whether they like you or they don't like you. It can be like a sign of love or hate. And they were ready to love him, but he was just so scared that he ended up having to leave the stage.
He's scared because they were throwing stuff?
They were throwing stuff, yeah. And you just kind of got to learn to dodge it.
What do they throw?
Usually Faygo bottles. That's like the thing they love, Faygo. I don't know. Have you guys heard about like when Tequila did The Gathering?
No.
Like I think this was before she had her like little psychotic break. I don't remember, but like she was talking all this shit on Juggalos because she was booked to perform. And like one thing like the Juggalos take very seriously is respect, because like it is very like positive, inclusive environment, and she wasn't showing that respect. So the Juggalos went ahead and because a lot of time they'll do the parking lot for like a week before it opens because they're real excited. So during that, I think it was the week, I could be getting this a little bit wrong, but the spirit of the story is still there. They're like, they got a watermelon, they're filling it with piss and shit and all kinds of stuff, and then they threw it at her on stage, I believe.
Oh my god!
And then she got chased to an RV, and it could have got real dicey, but I think she got out of there.
That's how bad she got dinged up?
I don't know if that maybe she might have got something a little thrown on her.
Wait, why was she talking shit about the Juggalos? I don't understand.
I don't know. She's a nut. Like you know, she went like she lost her mind. It became
she's had a couple psychotic breaks.
She's had a couple psychotic breaks, but the Gathering of the Juggalos and Juggalos in general, they get kind of a bad name of like being people they're not, because it is the most like positive, inclusive thing on earth. You know, they call it a Juggalo like family for a reason, because like everybody there is like very connected. Everyone kind of knows each other for the most part. Everyone looks out for each other. There's not a lot of police there. There's a lot of like, you know, free drug use and, you know, sex stuff all around. Like you can see like a sign. I remember like this lady.
What's the guy to girl ratio?
The guy to girl ratio is pretty even. You know, you'll see a lot of signs of like little old ladies that like, you know, like $10 hand job, $20 blow job.
So it's like Burning Man vibes a little bit.
It is, yes.
It's like Ratchet Burning Man.
I've never been to Burning Man, but I'd say there's parallels. It's the most fun every year I've had for the past like 8 or 9 years. It's the best. It's insane.
So they threw a watermelon full of piss and shit at Tila.
Yeah, you'd have to get the exact details, but then last year and this year they also they dip they dip a squid in piss or something. They did they did it last year, and they threw it on the stage, and again this year.
But they're all comfortable with like peeing on each other. It's not like they're just like hazing.
Well, I don't know how much they want to get pissed on, even though that thumbnail was a guy getting pissed on. Was it really? Yeah, like that red one down there. Maybe it's soda. I don't know. It looks like a stream of piss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the big like saying there, "Show me your butthole." That's like another like sign of admiration. Steve-O hosted it a couple of years ago, and they showed his butthole on the main stage.
That's awesome.
And then I was doing a podcast with Shaggy from ICP, and he's like, "Did you hear Steve-O showed his butthole?" And I was like, "No." And then he showed me a picture of it. It was like it was like if you took one of those like big jawbreakers. Like that's how like it looked like a black cavernous cave, and it was like a picture from so far. It was huge.
Wait, you're talking about Steve-O's butthole?
Yeah, dude.
I just want to make sure we're talking about.
Do you think it's like the structure of it is permanently changed from all the things he's
it
shoved
looked
in
like
there?
it. Yeah.
Was it
Diaper gang for sure.
A gape or
Yeah, it's a gape.
Whoa! So we've had Steve-O on and he didn't talk about it, but now
we should have
bring
him
it up.
back.
a lot of
Yeah.
people say it was our worst episode ever.
Yeah.
So
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
that's
Steve-O
going
is a
crazy.
gaper. Yes, he does. Leave it right.
Wow.
People tell me I look like Steve-O all day.
Really?
I could see maybe
I
if you
could-
were
I could see a
brothers
little
or
bit,
something.
yeah.
You'd be the responsible one. You know?
A juggalette. Is that what they're called? Juggalettes?
Yeah, those are the female juggalos or
Wow.
juggalettes, yes. You get the Miss Juggalette pageant. Last year, as a talent, one of the women stuck a 2-liter bottle of Faygo up her cooter. That was pretty cool.
I mean, I think what's more exciting about that is that there are 2-liter bottles of Faygo. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they got it.
great.
They got it
What
going
is
on.
Faygo?
It's
about to ask.
like it's a soda. It's
Yeah.
it's like a Midwest soda thing, and like the Juggalos, we're just obsessed. Love it.
interesting.
cool.
It's like an RC cola, RC whatever kind of thing.
And did ICP, did they develop all of these like kind of were they the guys who were like, hey, drink Faygo? Or were they
No,
the guys
that
who
just came across like sort of. I don't know how it came across. I don't think that was like a conscious thing. And I know like the owners of Faygo are pretty old and they don't fuck with it at all. I think like the younger generation of the owners do or whatever, but like because they toss Faygo during the concerts. They call it Faygo Armageddon, where it just Faygo everywhere. So they'll ship in on pallets Faygo all over the country on tour because they don't get it for free or anything. They have to pay for it.
Wow.
Do you think the owners of Faygo would show their butthole?
I think their sons might.
Yeah.
I don't know that the owner would.
Who's in charge of the business today?
I have no idea.
Can we get him on the phone?
Get them up.
Yeah.
So that is like the rite
This
of
would be
passage
huge.
then. That is how you like gain entry into the fraternity, is to show B.
Show your beehole? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll feel a little bit more at home if you do it.
I'd love to do that. So
Yeah.
where do they do it at?
This last couple of years was in Thornville, Ohio. It's this place called Legend Valley.
Interesting.
I think they do some big EDM festival there every year. I don't remember what it is. Lost Lands, I think.
How many people come?
It's like 10, 15,000, something like that.
That's solid. And then, okay, let's go back to Gabe. So you sponsor the pod.
Yes. Thank you for letting me sponsor your pod.
Dude,
dude,
honored.
preach.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
we're big into skincare. I've recently gotten really into it. Not just with the topicals. I'll even go beyond that. I'm struggling with large pores, but you've created a product that's for dudes. I think a big thing with guys is no one ever taught us how to apply. Like guys learn how to inject and like shave.
Do they learn how to inject?
Dude,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
HGH, T, whatever you're trying to get swole on. But, our dads never sat us down and were like, hey, this is how you put on the lotion. You're kind of bridging that gap for contemporary young dudes.
Yeah, I also just wanted to do something that was easy, because I think you have kids, right? You have
2, I got twins.
2, yeah. It's just like, there's just no fucking time, bro. Especially between all the injections.
Yeah,
You're so tired after before you
you
see
do 3 peptides, you're like, dude, I just don't have the time.
You got to prep all your peptides. It's
But
like,
it is
there's
true.
no
If you look at like a typical ladies, it's like cleanse, then I do the vitamin C serum, then I'm going to do the retinol, then I'm going to do another layer of lotion. It's like 4 or 5 steps.
And the
Yeah.
hockey mask.
Yeah, the light.
And I think just like, when you're a young woman, you're getting used to putting things on your face at a young age because you're doing makeup or
Conditioned, yeah.
whatever, But dudes, you never put something on your face until you really have to, until you're like, oh, there's something wrong with my face. I got to fix it. So this whole thing came about because I had a buddy who was like the singer of this band, super cool, great looking dude, was always at every cool party. One day he posted a selfie of himself and his lips are super chapped in the selfie. And he just starts getting dogged in the comments. People are like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? You never heard of chapstick? You just look like you walked out of Chernobyl. What's going on with you? And he's like, fuck that, chapstick, lotions, that's all for pussies. And it really just helped me see just the misconception a lot of dudes have around putting something on their face.
When we got lunch, you told us
Oh,
the
that's
story
you, bro.
about-
That's you guys. Yeah, this is why I sponsored the pod.
Wow,
because
look at that.
This is the first time you guys spoke about it. You're like, yeah.
So, remember you told us that you get comments all the time where people are like Gabe, your face just looks immaculate.
You
And
do have
it's
good
because,
skin.
you,
It's
I don't know if it
been-
looks immaculate, but for
but
my
you-
age,
you-
I think it's pretty good.
You've been on the Loesch game for a while, and you're like, it's all Loesch.
I've been, yeah. That's all I've been doing is just like,
You got no 11s, you got no crow's feet, and your pores are small, dog. Your
Thank you so
T-zone
much.
looks
Thank
clear
you
as shit.
Thank you so much, bro. I'm trying.
That's sick.
But yeah, all I've really done is just the Loesch. I think I had a girlfriend once who was like, dude, if, it's like a baseball glove. If you don't like oil it up, it's just gonna crack and start getting shitty. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want a crack shitty face.
Dude, I was of the same, before Brotege came on board and you showed us the product, I was in that same group where I was like, I don't wash my face. I even was writing a bit. I was like, I don't wash my face. I don't, I do ice baths. I don't, I don't
Yeah, that's like a
lotion.
dude approach. I do the more physical kind of hard ass thing.
I- and then you sent us Brotege, and now I lotion. I look forward to the
forward to the
Loesch.
lotion.
Yeah, and I can see it
You
in
preach the
photos.
Loesch.
I can see it in photos where I'm like, dude, the Loesch is kind of making me pop right now.
And you put the SPF in it too, which is so huge. I mean, because that's the
And
number
just-
one thing that's going to preserve you.
Yeah, actually, I really liked you told me that you were happy that it wasn't too high of SPF because you want a bronze still.
You still want to get some sun, so I think putting it at 15 was the right level.
Yeah.
I think so too because it doesn't make it too heavy. But a lot of people complain like we want higher.
They want the 30.
I don't know.
Well, this
So-
is an anti-Neutrogena pod. Like Neutrogena, my dad would just lather me up with Neutrogena.
Really?
Yeah, and
Like when you went to the beach?
yeah, SPF 100,
Wow.
and you know, because
it's like my wife to my kids. They hate it. They hate it so much.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, he's a doctor, and he's like, you got it. And I was like, fuck. And then my buddies would be like, dude, take your shirt off. I'm like, my shirt is off. You know? And it's such bullshit. So that was also what turned me off against Loesch early on, was my dad was so adamant about it, where I'm like, that was my rebellion. I'm like, if you like Loesch, I don't, but now I do.
Shit. Just flake away.
Yeah, but I just feel like the stuff that's out there for dudes also takes itself way too seriously. You know, and I think that's part of it too. It's like a lot of, you know, the more I research this, it's like half of dudes aren't doing anything. And I think part of that is because there isn't a company that's speaking to them the way that they understand. It's just like they come at them, they're just like, okay, great, now sit down and like, we're going to educate you about all these things. And it's like too much. It's just like, keep it simple.
And as I say during the ads too, people should know, like, retinol, it's not some like kind of woo-woo thing. Like, it's the only thing that's FDA approved to reduce fine lines. Like, it is scientifically researched, it is backed, we know it works. So get on it early, dude. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Come on, brother, where's some retinol?
That's why it feels good. Also, when you put on the Brotege, you get like a little bit of a flush. That's the retinol at work.
Yeah, dude, you give you a nice fucking glow. Who doesn't want that? People who look good get treated better. It's a sad reality.
Sadly.
Yeah, it's not true. It's not nice, but
check
whatever.
your privilege, bro.
Dude, for sure.
When did you start Brotege? How
Oh man. So I've owned Brotege.com for like 20 years.
Really? Oh, that's right. You told me. Yeah.
So I was just like, I just had it on the back of my head. I'm just like, this is like something cool. I don't know what it's going to be. And then about 5 years ago, I was like, oh, I should do a skincare company like what Liquid Death did for water. I should do for men's skincare.
Smart.
And then it took me a long time to just like research and figure out how to do this. And, you know, the manufacturing component is difficult. It's not like you just go to your room and just, you know, record yourself on a voice memo and put it up on Spotify. Sure. It's way different. I'm actually like making shit that's physical, like, you know. And then the SPF component was a whole nother threw me for a loop, because I didn't know that's like FDA regulated. It's actually a drug. Did you know that, SPF?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have like an OTC license to do that. Yeah.
I don't know if I did know that, but it sounded.
No, you know,
that was a comment. Yeah, I was like, I didn't know that.
All right, well, sweet dudes. Well, dude, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, what's
It's
this? You told me I was
awesome
going
to
to
have
get
you.
to try this,
Yeah,
bro.
I wanna try
do
this,
this.
dude.
Magic Mouse.
I
This is
thought I
another
could try to the top.
sponsor.
I would have been much smarter for the whole
We're G'd up
podcast.
from the feet up with
Yeah,
sponsors,
you get
dude.
you get chaga, you got lion's mane,
Some
Yeah.
matcha.
How long does it take to kick in? You feel it right away?
It's
I don't know. Cheers, bud.
Cheers, bro.
once it goes in, you'll feel a little bit smarter.
Those were good audible gulps, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious.
No matter
feel it?
anything my whole life I've taken a sip of, I can't help it. I go,
I'm ready to take my
I chug. I'm
yeah.
a big
Oh, I'm a
chugger.
chugger.
I
I'm
go
a
aggressive
big
on it.
chugger.
Reclaim your brain. I like that. That's cool. Where's this made? Here?
I don't know where they're based here for sure.
Yeah,
in, like,
the main
Venice.
dude lives in Venice.
Yeah.
Sick.
Where probably most nootropics come from.
Exactly. All the Venice bros. I know some Venice bros that are all into nootropics.
Yeah, it's a hotbed of what mushrooms can do for you.
Exactly.
All right, well, sweet guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Dude, it was a pleasure, man. Always
Appreciate
good to see you. Sean, nice to meet you.
You as
man.
well.
Guys, I'm so excited about this next sponsor, Rag & Bone. Okay, I love Rag & Bone. When we got the email that they were sponsoring the pod, I couldn't believe it, because every time my fiance and I go to New York, we go to Rag & Bone because they've got great high quality products and they're going to make you look good. For example, we got JT here in this Rag & Bone tee, a premium tee. Look at that.
Dude,
Now,
I love this thing.
I wore that same t-shirt to a party this weekend. That's not why I'm not wearing it, because it's in the laundry, but I wore it and my Rag & Bone jeans.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I was like, wow, I'm like, I feel fashionable.
Me
At
too.
this party, yeah.
Because all my t-shirts are just like stuff. I go to like a diner. I'm like, yeah, give me one of your shirts. I'm like,
Yeah.
in and out. This is like my first nice t-shirt.
Premium.
Dude, I wore it to a double date last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's sick. And yeah, I love their sweaters. I love their denim button-ups. I love their, I have a fleece from Rag & Bone. I have another pair of jeans from Rag & Bone. I'm a huge fan of Rag & Bone.
It's nice shit.
It's really nice.
It's nice stuff, dude. I freaking look cool in this thing.
Dude, it's so good.
Send us more, man.
I'm so stoked on Rag & Bone. Guys, if you want to just up your fashion game and you want to look like an absolute beast, you know, a guy who could walk into a bar in Manhattan and turn heads, a guy who could show up to Fashion Week and people would be like, Are you
from Italy?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what people said to me at this party. They're like, They're like, ciao. And I'm like, gracias. I really love Rag and Bone. I'm so stoked that they...
Is it bad if I email them on the thread and I'm like, yo, you want to send us like 2 more articles of clothing?
I mean...
I need clothes.
Well, guys, if you support the podcast, you'll help us get more Rag and Bone, which is what we want. Because they got slim fit jeans, straight, relaxed, athletic, every kind of style. Their jeans are built and they have a nice feel to them. So they feel good. They look good all around. And their jeans are really top of the line premium. If you want good jeans, get Rag and Bone. All right, let's get to the call to action, because it's time to upgrade your denim with Rag and Bone. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order with code GODEEP at ragbone.com. That's 20% off at rag-bone.com with promo code GODEEP. When they ask where you heard about them, please support our show and let them know we sent you. Rag and Bone. Guys, we are brought to you by the legends at Brotege. Brotege is the best new Loesch game in the biz. Brotege, as you guys are hearing on this pod, they got us into the Loesch game, and I feel good with my Loesch now. I feel good with my skin now. I was never a Loesch guy until Brotege came along, and they changed the game for me. They make it simple and easy and convenient, and they're gonna revolutionize the way you look. I guarantee it. Also, Brotege is running a giveaway for an almost all expenses paid trip to Warped Tour in Orlando. 2 round-trip flights, 2-night hotel stay, 2 tickets to both Warped Tour dates in Orlando, November 15th and 16th. Not included tacos and tequila. That's on the winner. Here's how to enter. Follow at XBrotegeX on Instagram. DM the word DEEP. That's literally it. Brotege equals simple. No BS skincare for dudes. DM the word DEEP to at XBrotegeX on Instagram to enter.
Guys, we're back. That was Gabe and Sean, but now it's just me and Chad chatting for a minute before we do some calls.
I just need to get this thing.
Chad's posting a clip. Football yesterday, my Steelers lost. I've been getting called out a little bit online.
Who'd they play? Oh, it was Seahawks.
Oh, yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, Darnold.
And we were up early. I will say this, part of me, I love the Steelers so much, but I don't have like a deep relationship with like Aaron Rodgers, you know, and I'd love to see Tomlin get a title, but this is going to betray me to a lot of Steelers. I kind of would love to see the Ravens win it this year.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'll always root for the Ravens. I'll admit when the Bills were playing the Ravens, I was rooting for Buffalo.
Ah, okay.
Because I love Josh Allen, I think Buffalo kind of like it'd be great for that.
I'd like to see Buffalo win. I just love Lamar. I think he's such a cool guy. I thought he handled that shoving thing so perfectly.
Yeah,
like that kid was a dick. He shoved him, and Lamar still apologized.
Yeah,
I think Derrick Henry's the man. So,
oh, dude, yeah, tank.
I'd kind of like to. But how was your football weekend?
I mean, what I start off the Rams. Big Rams guy this year. Stoked to see the Rams win. I watched that game, but it got to the point where they were up by so many points. I was like, all right, they already won. I'm good. And then, dude, I turned on the Cowboys and Giants game.
That was a wild one.
Holy tomatoes. That was sick.
I mean, dude, Russ went from looking like I thought he should get benched before the game. Then he was throwing some beautiful long balls the way he did in his prime.
Yeah.
Neighbors, what a freak athlete. But then he had one play towards the end of the game where I don't even think he was under pressure, maybe a little bit, but he threw it backwards.
Yeah.
Like uninterfered with, and created a fumble that basically cost them the drive.
Well, and also I think he, at the end of the game in overtime, it seemed like he got so confident from that touchdown pass he had. I'm like, oh, he got a little too, he was feeling himself too hard, and I think that's what caused the loss.
Yeah, he threw that toss into like triple coverage.
And that field goal too, that was pretty sick.
The one that bent back and forth, the Aubrey one.
Yeah, the one that tied it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to make that.
He's a beast.
And that guy, he comes from, he has a soccer background.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess he was a soccer player.
Makes sense. Those guys can boot it.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't playing soccer anymore. I don't really remember what happened, but his wife was watching football and was like, you could do that. And now he's the kicker for the Cowboys.
This is what happens when you have a woman that believes in you, dude. Like my lady believes me.
Yeah.
Chad, we should probably cover the big thing of the week too. I don't know how much we'll have to add to the situation, but the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Dude, it really when we were on the phone and I saw on the news like the first article I saw was like Charlie Kirk apparently shot or may have shot. I saw shot at.
Yeah.
And so you're on the phone and you're like, he got shot. I'm like, no, it said shot at. And then I got home and I saw I wish I hadn't seen the video. But the video, I almost just sat there for a couple hours. It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I watched it a bunch of times. It was hard not to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it a bunch of times too. But like when you didn't know if he was still alive or not, I saw it for the first time, and I almost like couldn't believe what I saw, and I just kind of sat there, shocked.
Some of the guys in the chat don't want us to talk about it. I guess they're kind of probably burnt out on it. That makes sense. But we haven't talked about it. I haven't really talked to Chad about it. Yeah. It was really sad. And you just worry about the aftermath and like just how normalized violence seems and how extreme people have gotten. Yeah. I think we got to learn how to like turn down the volume in this country, and that's a collective responsibility we all have. Yeah.
And it's just I think being so isolated, you lose your humanity a little bit when everything's online. Just people cheering it on or like celebrating it, you're just like, what is?
It's ridiculous.
What? Like,
it's dehumanizing to the person doing that too. That's not good for your soul. That right after someone dies, you like are happy about it or spewing hate. Yeah. And it's real hypocritical.
The thing that bothers me is just people talking about their team. They're like, this is my team. This is our side. I'm like, has it always been that way where people have really identified themselves as like on a team? Like this is our side. I don't know. It's just like, it.
And who are the leaders of your team? Like, are they really representing you? Yeah. Do they really even care about you? It's depressing. But on the upside of it, guys, I think we're going to do two things. We're going to, one, bring on some social media experts. Today, we're going to talk to someone who works on the business side of it, who's more of like, he thinks the solution is more user-based. And then we're going to talk to someone in the future who thinks it's more policy-based. And also, I think if you're a listener, and we have so many listeners that are doing so much positive stuff. Like I had a listener message me the other day who's traveling to Africa to interview people who work at the mines, in the diamond mines there. If you're doing stuff like that, message us and we'll shout you out on the pod every week. Because I think we need to just start pushing more positivity and highlighting all the good stuff people are doing. And so today we're going to talk to a social media expert who's going to talk a little bit about how the algorithm does drive extreme viewpoints and how it's kind of led to some polarization and normalization of violence. And then next week we'll talk to someone who's more on like the policy side. So yeah, let's call our buddy Ramsey right now.
Guys, we are brought to you by the legends at Home Chef, the best meal kit biz in the game. They have high quality ingredients. We all know how frustrating it can be when you've had a long day at work, or you're trying to make that selection of what to eat, and then you get that question, what should we eat for dinner? And you're like, I don't know. And then you decide on something and you're like, but what about all the ingredients? Oh, we have to go to the grocery store and get all this stuff. It's too much. Home Chef comes in, they make it simple, easy, and fun. They have high quality ingredients that can accommodate your diet, and they make making food fun. I made, as you guys all know, chicken, broccoli with parm on top. I made a salmon. I made a friggin' salmon with, I think it was like green beans or something.
Dude, me and my lady are doing it.
You doing Home Chef?
Yeah, we did delicious pasta last week.
Oh, you did?
With some veggies in it, and like fed it to the kids, and it was the best they ate for dinner. It's a huge bummer when you fix them something and they don't eat. You just get so sad. But then they were garfing it down.
So they love Home Chef.
They do. They really do.
Did you tell them to use your promo code?
No, I messed up. Dude.
Oh, dude. Well, next time they buy it.
My bad, dog.
Yeah. Users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. For a limited time, Home Chefing is offering our listeners and JT's kids 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/go deep. That's homechef.com/go deep for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/go deep. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
Hello.
Ramsey, what up, dude?
How's it going, JT?
How are you, man? You're on with Chad and me.
How's it going?
Hey, Chad. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. What's going on?
Now then, we just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, so you've been on like Anderson Cooper talking about some of this stuff. Can you talk about your business Dopamine Inc. and like what you guys were kind of trying to combat with just truth decay and how social media has driven a lot of extreme emotion?
Yeah, of course. So Dopamine Labs was the first startup I built. We started working on that right out of our PhDs at USC, fight on. And my co-founder and I were neuroscientists who had studied the parts of the brain around making and breaking addictions and how behavior gets generated. Like, why do we do what we do? And around this time, we had recognized, oh my God, all of these tech companies are starting to talk like neuroscientists. They're starting to use like ideas from neuroscience about how the brain changes behavior long-term, how to get people going, how to make them do stuff. Wait, there's something there. And so we built this company to sell that science and AI way back in the day, way pre-ChatGPT AI, about how to change people's behavior. We sold it to the apps that were good for you, like meditate and adhere to your diet and call your grandma. And we gave away a free antidote to tech addiction that we put for free in the App Store until Apple kicked us out because they said it is unacceptable to distribute anything that makes people use their phones less. And I got really pissed about that. Yeah, it was like a big, like, fuck you. I got really pissed. So I stayed up and in the most caffeinated 48 hours of my life, I rebuilt the app as a website outside the App Store that still did all the same things. And then someone found that at the World Economic Forum's annual thing in Switzerland. And they're like, yo, 60 Minutes, you need to talk to these guys. And so they brought Anderson out to the garage. And the rest was kind of history. But what we learned in doing all this was that all of the really big platform companies who are making the apps we spend all our time in all day, they know what's going on in the brain. They hire brain scientists to come in and make the technology intentionally change who you are and what you value. And we looked at that and said, there's a reason that's actually going to be really good for people, because most of the things that kill people in the global West are not like cholera and dysentery. It's like type 2 diabetes and depression and anxiety and smoking. It's all behavior stuff. So we should have technology that changes people. That would be good. And people should be the ones in charge of making that decision about themselves. But if some dweeb in Silicon Valley wants to weaponize that to drive profit margin because he runs an advertising business disguised as a social network, then we kind of had a beef with that. And so we wanted to distribute technology for free to help people fight and combat that.
Right. And so it feels like humanity right now is, we've kind of had our behavior modified by these platforms. And I guess their overarching goal, like you're saying, is just to sell more stuff or to have us on there so they can show us more advertising. Can you kind of explain why it seems to be going in such a like rage and like violent direction?
Yeah, it turns out that, and like this isn't just me as a scientist, but as like a philosopher and a lover of life. Like it turns out that rage is a really activating emotion amongst us, and it's an easy emotion. You don't need to have a really deep reason for rage. You don't have to be really brilliant or sophisticated to like get really mad about something. And there's lots of reasons why socially it's good that, JT, if you saw Chad get really angry at something, it's probably actually culturally important that you get angry with him. That kind of like keeps people glued together. It keeps civilization kind of intact. But it's hackable, because if all you're showing people is content that makes them angry, and the number that you care about is how many times did people click on share or like or repost, you end up with an incentive structure that's really gross, because it incentivizes your machine to optimize for things that might not be true or beautiful or uplifting of the human condition, or even, quite frankly, entertaining or fun. And so people end up stressed out, freaked out, with mediocre ideas in their head and beliefs that they don't value or aren't virtues aligned for them, but they can't help but just sit here and scroll against. And I think we're kind of collectively kind of cooked there. I don't think it's like an unfixable thing, and I think there is a way to fight fire with fire. But I think a lot of what aches everybody right now, and why everyone's kind of like, man, I got to get off my phone, is that these platforms have learned that if they want to optimize revenue, and by the way, you're not the customer of Instagram, like Coca-Cola is the customer of Instagram. Like, you're not the customer of TikTok. You're the thing getting sold. You're the products getting sold. Your attention, your beliefs, and your culture is the product. If that's true, then those companies are going to blindly optimize up to basically the last point of return on anything that can be done to get people to stay longer. Unfortunately, we're the people who get stuck in that machine. We're the rat pushing the button, getting the little bolt of electricity. And I think a lot of people are just kind of sick of that.
And then, so what direction do you see it going? Because if it is cannibalizing its own like user base, at some point that'll erode their ability to sell things.
Ostensibly. So this is like one of the things that actually cigarette companies have to contend with, is you can't actually make cigarettes that deadly, or else they literally kill your customers. Mm-hmm. So cigarettes are deadly, but as long as it's kind of in a way that, like, yeah, at some point nebulously in 40 or 50 years, this person's going to die, and it's probably going to be because they smoked their cigarettes. Likewise, these platform companies have to get just up to the line of, yeah, people are actually sick of this. And what's fortunate for them is that because now all of us live in those places. Like, I remember when the computer sounded like two transformers having hate sex to connect to the internet. Mm-hmm. And like, it lived in the corner of the room in a special wooden like little desk, and that was the computer time. But now we all live in the internet. That's just culture. That's just society. And they know that lots of other things we'll put up on there are inspirational or funny or encouraging or part of a dynamic political process. So they don't have to worry about getting like too close to the like poison line, because they know it will naturally balance itself out. The problem is that to keep us in the loop part is that you don't know which post is going to be poison and which post is going to be Chad saying something funny. And because you don't know, your brain can't make a mental model of it. And when your brain can't make a model, it becomes like a slot machine, and you become addicted to the scroll in the same way that people become addicted to pulling that lever, because they don't know when it's going to pay. And you don't know each time you scroll what's going to happen.
And then, so do you see the fix coming? Is there like some policy that we could put in place that would force these platforms to shift their algorithm?
We've tried for a few years. So the problem is that the platform companies, technically speaking, aren't publishers. So there are laws for publishers. If you're like, hey, I run a newspaper, I'm the New York Times, I'm the LA Times, I'm a publisher, so I'm accountable for the content in my newspaper. There are laws for that. The big platform companies have made very certain through lobbying that they are not that thing. They're just infrastructure, man. It's just code, bro. Like, we're just giving people this platform. We're not publishing anything. And so they dance around it, knowing fully accountable. Like, there's tons of reports from inside Facebook that, even from as far up as like the C-suite and the board, that they were aware that their technology was doing potentially irreversible harm to the psychological welfare of young women. And they're like, it's not bad enough yet. They just keep going because they know they're not going to be held account to it. And now, in a admittedly kind of in the reality we live in, it's not like the government's getting any bigger. And we've got an awful lot of people who are looking at the government saying, what if we destroyed that part of it? Because that appears to be waste, and I don't understand what Chesterton fences are. Okay, it might have actually been that there was kind of a correct amount of government, not to like open up that can of worms, but it's not like we live in the place where suddenly there's going to be a lot of new laws. It's going to kind of be the opposite. So I'm not really encouraged about policy mechanisms. What I do think will work is fighting fire with fire. I think that there's going to be ideas that people are looking for that are better than the ones that are out there really right now that are really bad and full of hatred and vitriol, that are just going to naturally be sticky and funny and engaging, and they will replicate as little mind viruses faster than these really shitty evil ideas. And that, to me, is where I've got a lot of optimism, is fighting fire with fire.
Interesting.
So you're basically saying it's going to come down to the user base. We have to like have some kind of injection of like positive antidote ideas that will have more momentum than the kind of rage stuff we seem addicted to right now.
Yeah, like I'll give an example. There's of the Gundo bros, the technology guys who are doing cool defense-ish companies in Los Angeles. There's a handful of the Gundo bros that are kind of bucking all of these trends and saying things that are deeply optimistic and yet very honest about, look, if we don't get some of these things right, we're all in trouble. And they'll have a hot take about politics. You'd be like, wow, yeah, man, you stick it to them. And then the next day, wait, a hot take from the other side? But I just thought you just wait. Because it turns out ideas are kind of complicated and people are complicated, but there's truth and beauty in these things. And I think people are kind of hungry for that thing that comes next. That's not just everybody retreating to their side, but people saying, look, this is all very stupid and we got to learn how to get along. And there's people who are doing that, and they're starting to become really popular.
Wait, who are the Gundo Bros?
The Gundo Bros are a bunch of venture-backed technology brothers who are in the greater El Segundo and Redondo Beach area working on like hard technology, either like defense tech or weather modification or like really cool, oh my God, we're going to save America kind of stuff. And they're all meatheads and deeply love their country. They're really funny dudes, but they collectively go by the Gundo Bros. You should have one of the Gundo Bros on the show.
Wait, so they how are they kind of combating this social media algorithmic kind of disease?
Because they're giving an example of the ideas that outcompete the bad ones.
Okay.
It's one thing for someone on the deep left to say like, yo man, we're gonna have a talk about radicalizing young white men. But it's another thing for like a young white technology man in defense tech to be like, yeah, I agree. That is a good idea. And suddenly now you've got this really like, wait, but weren't you supposed to be part of the problem? No, you're not. You're part of the solution. Wait, maybe all these differences between people were kind of just manufactured by advertising platforms. Like maybe we are all better than this. And so there are reasons to be optimistic and people who are pushing that optimism in really practical and useful ways. Those are the new ideas that we're seeing. We want those to exist.
But you got to give us an example of guys who don't work in like AI defense contracting too.
I mean, all the optimistic ones ended up doing it. That's why I do it. But I know, sarcasm aside, look, I think there's an awful lot of people who are deeply optimistic who end up trying to build stuff.
Right.
If you and Chad didn't have a streak of optimism inside you, you wouldn't be running this show. But you guys are optimists.
And because I deal with, almost every day, I kind of, I don't slam my phone down, but I like kind of find myself in a hole where I'm like, God, I gotta get off my phone, and like my eyes will hurt. And I'm like, and it does, like, what do you, right now for people listening, like, how can we combat this technology addiction?
I'd recommend going to the nearest body of water and throwing both your phone and your laptop into it. I'm saying big, not sink, not bathtub. I mean, get on your bike, go ride to the beach, and then walk out into the surf, and unless it's kind of strong, and then throw your machines in the surf. And no, like that's not really what I'm advocating for. Though I often want to do that all the time.
Yeah, same.
Practically speaking, I think all the things about like, oh, do a digital detox, like they're super well intentioned. And I lived in Venice Beach for a bunch of years, so I know like the Venice Beach like tech hippie thing. It's all kind of a little bit of crap because it presumes that you're just going to like immediately come back straight into it afterwards. The reality is we now all live on computers. That now is real life. There's no longer being a computers person. We're all computers people on accident now. So the question becomes, are we comfortable enough, and do we have like the right internal emotional practices as human beings and as spiritual beings to say, I know that this isn't real life? And that's hard. That's like a, hey, am I good with myself and the trajectory of my life question. The easy thing is also filtering and being very specific about, like, the same way that like you're careful about what you eat and who you hang out with. If you treated the internet like it was a person, would you hang out with that person? Would you invite that person to your party? If you're throwing a party and you're inviting really chill people to a party, that's you have an intuition how to do that. If you treated the internet like that and who you followed online, would you let that dude through the door? Because he's saying shit that makes you feel bad all the time, or he's showing you weird stuff you don't want to see. You'd be like, dude, get out of here. Yeah. And you should treat your relationship to your phone like that.
And yeah, that's why it's so two-sided too. Like you see this revolution happening in Nepal, but the catalyst for it was that they outlawed social media and the youth revolted. And it's like a positive thing that these kids are, disrupting a corrupt government. But then it also feels like it was kind of motivated by this technology addiction.
It is. And I think this is kind of downstream. Like, let's not pretend that YouTube came out yesterday. Like, this has been long enough that, like, there's kids that have only ever known this world, and now they're going to start coming of voting age pretty soon. And they're going to have a really unique politics, and they're going to have really unique definitions and expectations of the way culture and technology should work together. And they're going to be not just making decisions, they're going to be participating in the economy and running stuff pretty soon. They're going to have definitions of good that maybe don't look like yours and I's, and they're all going to be downstream of these platform companies. So I'm never telling anyone, don't use Instagram. Don't use YouTube. I mean, I definitely people don't use TikTok, but that's a different Defense Bro kind of topic.
Sure.
I'll never tell someone don't go laugh at funny things on Instagram. It's your relationship to the technology should be, hey, this thing's going to shape me into someone new. Am I making decisions where I'm going to like that new guy based on what I'm consuming?
I think that's the thing that scares me most is the way the medium is changing the psychology of the user.
Yeah.
And in primarily negative ways, it seems.
Yeah. That's the pernicious part. Because, again, if these platforms have a kind of a thing for showing rage bait, and you're spending a few hours a day kind of just sucked in, are you basically just butt chugging rage bait all day?
Yeah. Well said.
That's not a good place to be.
No, that's like I got rid of X because I don't follow anyone on X, but it's just, you know, and I had it because I'm like, I feel like I got a post on there, but
sure, it's
just everything it serves up to me is it's either murder, like hyper extreme political views, conspiracy, you know, none of it is good. And but to your point on like YouTube and stuff, I'll like, you know, subscribe to a lot of like philosophy channels or like, you know, just positive stuff overall. And I feel like it can serve as, you know, a great teacher. I was gonna say mentor, teacher, and then like, you can have like kind of online mentors, people who, you know, like good, like smart authors and stuff who have YouTube channels, stuff like that. So I think that's a really good point. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But you got to go out and you got to do that. I think what we're going to find with time is that we're right now in like the awkward puberty stage of technology and the internet.
Yeah.
Where like a few years ago, it's like, oh man, this is easy and fun. Everything makes sense. But now it's like, things have changed. Yeah. I suddenly don't like this now. And we know we're going to get through to the beautiful other side. But in the meantime, we got to kind of get our shit together.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to, for most people, like the thing they can do, dude, go through your feed and just start muting stuff. Just start blocking stuff.
Yeah.
Just start unfollowing stuff. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. It's about your experience of it. Yeah. You're in charge.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Ramsey, thank you so much for dropping in, man. You're the best. We'll have you back on and we'll talk more about this stuff. Really appreciate the time.
That sounds good. You bros have a great day. Talk soon.
Great chatting with you.
Likewise. Good to meet you, Chad.
You too.
Do you want to call? So, dudes, we got one more call coming up. This is a special interest, human interest story. We're going to talk to a taxi rickshaw driver and see what his work life is like. And I want to, Leroy in the chat, can you tell us what the thing you got hired to do was? This was cool. This could be our first positive story of the week. I want to shout you out. You got appointed to the Historical Resource Commission of your hometown or of your town. That is awesome, dude. Thank you for, you know, picking up a gig with civic responsibility. You're a beast, and you're making the world a better place.
Hello,
Joe. What up, dude? It's JT from after the Oasis concert.
How's it going, man?
Doing well, man. You're on with Chad too.
What's up, man?
Hey, Chad.
How you doing?
Recovering. Mondays are always kind of a rehydrate and get some food in my stomach situation.
So you drive like a rickshaw transport where you have a bicycle and then there's like a wagon behind it where you carry people.
Yeah, we call it a pedicab. To me, like a rickshaw is the one that you hold with your hands, like in the Seinfeld episode. But yeah, we call it a pedicab. They've been around for a while. I've been doing this like 9 years, so it's progressed, it's changed, and it's.
What got you into it?
So my story is that I actually worked in political campaigns for like 7 years.
Whoa.
And I was trying to get Democrats elected in Texas and Georgia. And it's just a frustrating situation to be in. Mm-hmm. And so one day, one of my clients lost. Everybody I wanted to win lost during like a primary. And so I kind of rage quit. I just walked away from this election after party and never looked back. I got a job like delivering sandwiches on my bicycle for Jimmy John's in Houston, Texas. And then one day I was riding my bike home and I saw a guy on a tricycle. I was like, wait, you're getting paid for this? And within our industry, like we don't like to bring in a whole lot of new people, more bikes, more competition, more mess, more potential for all the bikes to get kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my good friend Niaz from Houston. He said, "Bro, you look so poor. I had to help you." So that was 9 years ago. We started with no motors, with small bikes, and the whole industry has progressed to, you know, bigger motors, bigger bikes, and, you know, bigger events.
And you're out in California now. Is that the best place to be if you're doing this gig?
I really enjoy it. It's very fun. There's always something going on. I mean, Oasis did like one West Coast spot this year, and so Southern California attracts a lot of fun stuff. I've tried to quit this job 2 or 3 times, to be a personal trainer or to sell one thing or another, and I always wind up coming back. When I moved out here, I had a job, you know, selling software over the phone, and that didn't work for me, and I just wound up doing this again. So it's a very hard job to quit. I wound up, you know, doing it here accidentally. I didn't move out here to pedicab, but that's what I'm doing.
How much can you squat?
Man, I haven't actually squatted in a while, but
Are your quads just
I feel
massive?
like what's the question?
Are your quads just massive?
They're doing great.
That's awesome.
I think when I was squatting, I think, you know, like when I was a personal trainer, which was one of the jobs I tried to use to quit pedicabbing, I was over 300. It's not as much as you think.
That's a lot. And then, so in your experience, which demographic, like which band, which age group is like the craziest after a show?
It depends. You know, sometimes you get like an older crowd that this is the one weekend a month or per financial quarter that they're really letting loose. And, you know, they go crazy. I've worked events where everybody was so crazy and intense and just intoxicated that I just wound up telling most of them, like, no, like, you're too rude. I can't help you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the relationship like?
Generally, like a classic rock crowd is going to be pretty crazy.
Nice.
Oh, really?
So the older folks, they tend to get after the hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they don't let loose all the time. You know, like they're just.
So they're really emptying the tank.
Baby Cobra style.
Yeah, it's built up.
So you what kind of, do you play jams while you work for the passenger?
Yeah, I think the music choice changes depending on the crowd. I have playlists set up and try to find something that works for both of them and me. Like, you know, if it's a Kiss concert, I don't really want to play just Kiss beforehand, but people like it.
What if JT and I were gonna get in the cab, what would you instinctually play?
It would depend on the event. A lot of times I wind up defaulting to, you know, some sort of general playlist. But I've also been known to like be fairly chaotic and listen to Mambo No. 5 for 3 hours straight.
Oh, dude.
Whoa.
So like,
That's sick.
That's insane.
The customers love it, but the other pedicabbers, I think it annoys them, and sometimes that's what I want to do.
Yeah, you gotta get ahead of your competition.
And so is there a community of pedicab drivers, and what's your guys' relationship with like regulators and cops?
With like regulators and cops at events, what I do and what I try to tell my crew to do is like say please and thank you, be nice, be someone that they maybe if they don't want us out there, they at least don't mind us being out there. All the operators are different, and people who ride a tricycle for a living generally are not able to, they're not great at having a regular job. So their relationship with authority is unusual.
Right.
So some guys are, they'll argue or yell.
They'll
Some
start
guys
it
are just
before it
like,
happens a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's tensions are high. There's 50,000 people trying to get to one place, so it's very chaotic.
Mm.
And then, do you ever listen to the show?
Man, I've been too busy to check you guys out. Y'all are so cool, though.
No, not our show. Not our show. The concerts you're taking people to.
Sometimes you can hear them from outside.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, I'm hanging out outside. I've been offered tickets to a few shows, but ultimately, I wind up not doing it.
And have women ever hit on you?
Yeah, man, that's that happens.
Nice.
And it's not like Uber where people are leaving a review, so you kind of got free range to make a move.
If I, sometimes it happens. I'm not sure what to say, dude.
Classy.
I think on my sign, it says catching is extra as a joke. The sexual harassment used to be pretty bad out in Texas, but California is a little more polite, which is nice.
Mm.
And do you ever get scared out on the roads? Like which state do you think is the safest to drive in, and what's the most dicey you've ever felt pulling someone? Because you've got people in your car. You're on open road. There's cars everywhere.
Yes, and you would think that there would be more accidents than there are, but remarkably, it's pretty safe. But the place that I regularly feel pretty intimidated on the road is in Las Vegas, where the taxi drivers have chosen to have this vendetta against pedicabs, and they're going around you at 45 miles an hour and just cutting you off. Vegas is not designed for bikes, and it's very scary to ride there sometimes.
Whoa! And the taxi drivers are a little territorial. They're trying to kind of intimidate you off the road.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's competition at all. The distances that we're taking people are not really even distances that they would want to go.
Right.
So, yeah.
Have you?
Maybe somebody told them that we're the competition and they believed it. Who knows?
Do you ever? I remember I was in New Orleans and this guy. We were at a concert. My brother and his friends took a pedicab and they left us. But then someone came through on a golf cart, and he was like, "This is illegal, but I'll take you." Do you ever deal with competition like that, where you're like, dude, you got a swarm of golf carters coming in, and you're like, you report them to the authorities?
The natural enemy of the pedicab is the golf cart.
Mm-hmm.
I used to ride in Arlington, Texas, at the Cowboys Stadium, and they would allow pedicabs, and then they allowed golf carts, and the golf cart guys were just very aggressive. And for whatever reason, it seems like guys who ride golf carts just pretty aggressive, and it just leads to tension, which leads to everybody being banned from, the city of Arlington.
Right on, man. Well, dude, that was awesome, dude. Thank you for jumping on and talking to us. You gave us a great ride, me and my bro, after Oasis. Appreciate you keeping us safe and playing good tunes and being open to doing this, man. You're a good dude.
Absolutely, guys. Catch me at the next one.
Dude, great chatting with you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Later, brother.
All right.
Good shit, dude.
Good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
All right.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Thank you, Stokers.
Gracias, Stokers. Caught Stealing. Very good movie.